Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the first group and we will explain and tell about the cultural identity. Before that, I will explain about what is the cultural identity or the identity. The cultural identity is the identity or feeling of belonging to a group. The cultural identity, such as accepting the tradition, language, heritage, religion, ancestry, aesthetic, thinking pattern, and social structure of the culture. It is part of one's self-conception and self-perception, and is related to nationality, ethnicity, religion, social class, generation, locality, or any type of social group belonging to a different culture. In this way, cultural identity is a characteristic of individuals, but also group of culturally identical members who share the same cultural or educational identity. Cultural or ethnic identities are part of identity communication theory that established for personal framework that allow us to see how we construct identities. And the framework includes a personal framework, a communication framework, a relationship framework, and a communal framework. The communal frameworks refers to the cultural boundaries or sense of entitlement that people live which varies by cultural group. Therefore, cultural or ethnic identity is the central to a person's identity, how they see themselves and how they relate to the world. And another explanation about what is the identity according to the Kalian 2007 is national identity is a cultural value that grows and develops in aspect of the life of a nation in contrast to other nation in its life. So the main point of identity is the national or cultural identity that it's owned by a nation and culture that is not owned by another nation.
Okay, now let us discuss about how the identity works in a country. So, when we are talking about how the identity works in a country, according to my understanding or based on my understanding, how identity works in a country, it is the same with what is the role of identity in a country. In accordance to the meaning or definition of identity itself, whereas identity is a distinctive feature of a country. Here, I think identity works as a marker of the characteristic of the country. I mean, here identity become a differentiator between one country with other countries because the characteristic of the country. And also beside become a differentiator, identity also play a role in unifying the nation. And whereas the role of unifying the nation and also differentiating one country with other countries, how can I say that the works of identity is a marker of the characteristic of the country? Because identity supported by one language and then ethnicity and then culture, perhaps religion, and maybe behavior and so on. Here the example, even countries which is in one circle whose English is their mother tongue, such as UK, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and so on, whereas in their daily communicative, in their daily conversation use English, I believe there must be a difference either in accent, vocabulary, and grammar, because each country, this country I have mentioned, have a different background in how they're adopting their language, their accent, their vocabulary, and how they use the grammar. Why here there is a differentiation? Because each country, this country, has their own identity. And of course, apart from that, the culture, the ethnicity, and the behavior, the society in this country also different, have many differences. Why it have many differences? Because it is all, they have their own identity. They have the identity of their respective country.
Okay, the next is about the identity in Great Britain. The first is accent. In the following, I will explain what little I know about British accent. Most British don't say R even though it has an R in it. Change R to A. If there is a double R in a word, it is pronounced still like one R. Second, U is pronounced ew or you. Third, the A in the middle will sound like R or R. The next, in American English, usually the T in the middle of the word will be changed to D. But British usually use a glottal stop. The glottal stop is like catching the air behind the back of the tongue at the end of the first syllable before moving on to the next syllable. And the H at the beginning of the word is usually pronounced curly in British. Next, if there is a double E in the middle of the word, it will be pronounced air instead of I. Next, O that meets A in the middle of a word will be pronounced A or A. Second is ethnic. Historically, the inhabitants of England are descended from several nations. As early as the Briton, the Germanic peoples who settled in the area, including the Anglo-Saxon and Jutland, collectively known as the Anglo-Saxon people, founded what would later become England. The third is culture. Theatre and shows are very popular in the UK. In London, you can find a variety of dance, drama, and musical shows, and the show is always on tour around the city. And theaters are found all over the UK. The fourth is habit. The first is clothing. Dress habits in Britain are quite relaxed. If you are going to an interview or a formal event, you should be well dressed and polite. Second, giving greetings. When you want to greet someone for the first time, you can simply do with a handshake. Eye contact is important to show your sincerity, but excessive eye contact can be seen as annoying. British people may seem quiet at first, but once you start talking with them, you will find that they are friendly and fun people. Third is about men and women. Men and women are seen as equal in Britain. compared to Asia countries. Relations between men and women in the UK are more informal. Fourth, table manner. Table manner in England is very continental. Use a fork with your left hand and a knife with your right. When you have finished eating, show it by tilting your knife and fork to the right of your plate. The last is about time. The British really value time. Make sure you are on time for all invitations and events. If you are invited to dinner, bring a bottle of wine or chocolate or flowers for the host. If you are invited to a party, bring a drink to enjoy as a group.
Okay, next is America or United States. America is a nation that is world's highest level of singular prosperity. In that sense, the people are made up of almost every ethnicity in the world. The United States is the third largest country in the world with a population of over 325 million. More specifically, a child is born every 8 seconds and one dies every 12 seconds according to the United States Census Bureau. Almost all the languages of the world are spoken in the United States, but most are spoken in English, such as Spanish, Chinese, French, and German. 90% of the population in the United States speak and understand at least English, and most of officially business speak English also. Then, the United States culture has developed worldwide in various forms of adaptation and has affected the whole world, especially Western world. Now, talking about the majority of the cities, there have classical music and people, research and museum centers, dance shows, music and drama. Open art project and important architecture, the United States has also become a high-quality educational center. The country has more than 1,500 universities, colleges, and educational institutions, some of which are world-renowned. Styles of dress in America is vary according to the social status, area, work, even the weather. Jeans, sneakers, baseball caps, cowboy hats, and boots are some of the clothing closely associated with the American people. Okay guys, a little bit about opinion Americans people. The people of the United States acknowledge they have no special culture down to the poorest, but rather think that their culture is the culture of trying to be the best. Since no caste, religion, and culture factors stand in the way of this, people in the country believe that someone who's trying to be the best will be able to be the best.
Okay, here I will explain about Australian culture. Australia is officially known as the Commonwealth of Australia. Australia is the largest country in Oceania that comprising the mainland of the Australian continent, the island of Tasmania, and numerous smaller islands. Australia's capital is Canberra, and its largest city is Sydney. Then, the population of Australia is around 26 million. Australia is a highly developed country with the world's 14th largest economy. It has a high income economy with the world's 10th highest per capita income. Okay, let's continue to discuss about the language. Australia's national language is English, but Australians have a unique characteristic in speaking, namely unique slang and phrases. Example of slang include G-Day, that means hello, and then bloke, that means male, then creaky, that means wow, and Barbie, that means barbecue. Then an example of strange phrases is Captain Cook, which mean look, and then a bag of fruit, that means shoot. Okay, let's continue to the ethics. Australian people tend to be relaxed and informal. When they meet for the first time, they will generally shake hands, smile, and introduce themselves by their first name. They enjoy a relaxed lifestyle and always make time to hang out with friends and family. Picnics, barbecues, parties, beach holiday, and playing in the park are essential in Australian lifestyle. Then, if they are invited to their friend's house for a meal, it is polite to bring a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates as a present. Then, they always try to be on time because arriving late is seen as impolite there. Then, if they do have to be late, they will call and notify the host in advance. Okay, let's continue to the characteristic of Australian people. In general, Australian people is an egalitarian society. This does not mean that everyone is the same or has equal wealth or property. Yet, this means that there are no formal or ingrained class difference in Australian society as in other countries. Then, Australian people also have characteristic cosmopolitan lifestyle in urban center, especially in big cities along the coast. Then, Australians are among the hardest working people in the world. Some of them have the longest working hours in developed country. Okay, I think enough from me. Thank you.